All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. Today, we are talking about private practice planning. We want to create a plan for the entire year of 2023. And actually, we're already in February. So if you haven't started a plan yet, let's definitely jump right on in and get started. All right. So first of all, I want to thank you for joining me today. I know that you guys have so many other things that you could be doing on this beautiful Saturday morning. It's super, super cold. If you haven't been outside, let me tell you, it's cold on the East Coast, but we still got to get this done. So I want to say that I'm so excited to have you joining me. Thank you for giving me this time in this space to be able to share a little bit of what I know that can help you to grow your therapy practice. So if you don't know me, I am Keisha Sando. I am a licensed mental health counselor. That's what the LMHC stands for. I actually own a group practice, a counseling practice. So there's several of us that actually work within the practice. And I've been actually running this practice for several years. Technically, I started back in 2011 when I registered my business, but it took me some time. So that's part of why I want to share this information with you. And then it pretty much brought me up until 2013 when I finally decided that I really wanted to really push myself and get this stuff done in terms of starting my therapy practice and being consistent with it. We all know about consistency and what happens if we're not consistent in our therapy practice. So basically in 2014, I decided to actually leave my full-time job as a clinical supervisor. And it was after that I really gave my all and my best into that practice. And then the next year, 2015, is actually when I started to hire other therapists. I got to a point in my practice where things were starting to grow a little bit more fast than I was expecting. So I was able to grow my therapy practice after that point. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me in a second in terms of my practice, but I'm also an author. I actually have co-authored 2 books, and I'm actually currently working on a book. So stay tuned for that. I'm a coach. Yes, I'm a coach, specifically working with individuals who want to start their therapy practice, trying to get them to a place where they let go of the lack of confidence and all those mindsets that causes us to know what we want to do, but actually don't do it. And so I kind of help them to build their confidence in that way, change the mind frame about things, also putting them into action so that they can get the job done, meaning start their therapy practice, remove all those barriers, provide strategies, provide information that they're lacking so that they can actually start these practices and allow it to be successful. So in addition to that, I am a wife, and I also am a mother of 2 boys. So if you have children, you know about that as well. So why am I doing this? I am doing this because many therapists have told me a lot of the following that I'm about to go into. So first, they're confused about the process of starting or running their therapy practice. They do not know how to grow their therapy practice. They feel alone and need to grow and need to support and guidance. They don't know what to do to market their practice, or they just really don't understand what it means to market your practice as a therapist, because I've definitely heard a lot of people say they're like, oh, if you're a therapist, you're not supposed to market yourself, that's unethical. I don't know where that comes from, but I definitely have heard that. They feel overwhelmed and don't know how to organize the information that they have, and also how to organize the time. So some people, you may be one of them, where you've gotten information about this topic here, maybe about budgeting there, maybe about doing your notes and somewhere else, and you're trying to just kind of figure out how to organize all this stuff. That's where I come in and try to help you to put the pieces together, kind of like a wonderful, amazing puzzle. All right. So some therapists actually, they just want to make more in their business. So maybe they have the strategies, but they're not really sure how to grow, how to actually increase the finances in their business. So I help them with that. And then also, I have definitely heard from many therapists that they love what they are doing, but they feel exhausted, and they really just don't feel like they have the time to be with their loved ones, or really just to do what they love. So you're in a position where you're seeing so many clients per week, and you're really not seeing how you are really in your purpose, I guess I would say, because we all have started our therapy practice, or we want to start our therapy practice because we want more freedom in our lives. But sometimes when you leave a full-time job and then you go into private practice, if you're not careful, you can end up working even harder than you were in your full-time job. So we really have to create systems in our practice to help us to be able to still do what we love, make the money that we need, make an impact, but also still have the freedom that we really are desiring. Okay, so I was there with all of the above, everything that we just talked about. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. So of course, I just told you a little bit earlier about how I started the practice, how I started to grow my practice, but you would not believe it if I tell you, like, prior to that, there were many years of me feeling like I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the knowledge, I wasn't good enough, comparing myself to other people, comparing myself to other therapists, other agencies, all of that. And also, not in addition to that, not only was I going through the comparison phase, but also just going through my personal issues. I mean, at this time, like around this time before I started, there was medical issues that I was going through, financial issues that I was going through, relationship issues that I was going through. It was so much. And I tell you that, you know, a lot of times we make excuses for why we can't start a venture, why we can't start or we can't move forward with a goal that we have. But I'm here to tell you today that you're not alone, and that you actually can do it. If your desire is to leave your full-time job and start a therapy practice full-time, you can do it. Trust me, it can be done. I have not looked back since I left. And even if you don't want to do a full-time, but you want to do a part-time, you can do that as well. So it can work. My idea about starting a therapy practice, which is reason why I have my coaching program called Authentic Profitable Practice, is that I want you to start a therapy practice. I want you to be running a therapy practice that works for you, that works for your lifestyle. And that could mean anything. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about today? We're talking about your why. We are talking about your goals. We're talking about networking, marketing, vacation, budgeting, freedom. All right. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about a program that I have that if you feel like this matches you, I want you to join our club, Therapists in Action. All right. So you guys may have heard about this scriptures. The scripture is called "Without a vision, the people perish." And this is in Proverbs 29:18. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a vision for your practice. I want you to really, really be thinking about, what does your practice need to look like? What are some things that you want it to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish in your own personal life as a result of this practice? But you have to have a plan and you have to have a vision. Okay, now this next scripture, write the vision and make it plain. This is by Habakkuk 2:2-3. And if I'm pronouncing it wrong, please forgive me. This is definitely a difficult chapter or book to say. So this is definitely something I want you to take into consideration as well. Write the vision and make it plain. We can't keep everything in our head. This is a lot of times what I hear people say, like, oh, I want to do this in my business. I want to do this in my practice. But then I'm like, do you have a plan? What's a part of those plans? What are the other details within that plan? If you don't know, you don't know. You got it, write it down. As you write it down, more details and more information will start to be downloaded. So you have to write this out. Even as you are downloading that information, you can begin to organize some of those things as well. Okay. All right. So now we're looking at your why. Now, this is really, really important in terms of creating your plan, because at the end of the day, what is the point of actually doing something if you don't know why you're doing it? My thought is, if you don't know your why, then chances are the minute that something does not go in line or does not fall in line with the way that you want it to go, you are more likely to give up very easily. You are more likely to accept opportunities that don't line up with what you really want. So we got to know our why. Our why is going to give us that passion. It's going to give us the determination that we need in order to continue working through developing our private practice. So I want you to think about it. Do you want to start your therapy practice, or are you running your therapy practice currently because you want to increase your finances? Are you trying to gain freedom in your own life? That's what I hear a lot of therapists say, that really, that's what they want. They just want more freedom. Or are you trying to make an impact? What is your why? These are just 3 different whys, but what is your why? It might be something here, but it may be something completely different. I want you to tell me, what is your why? So you want to take out some time to think about it, right? Everything that you do, every part of the reason why you are starting your therapy practice or have started it, that should essentially be your foundation. If you start up with a plan, every decision that you make, every decision that you don't make, every process that you choose, every system that you choose should all be in line with your why. So now I want you to take out 2 minutes to write down your why. All right. So now we are going to be talking about your goals. Now, of course, I know you guys as therapists, you know about goals. So this is not like something that is a brand new idea, but honestly speaking, there's a lot of therapists, a lot of us don't even do this for ourselves. So I'm here to kind of put some things into perspective and tell you that you need to create some long-term goals as well as short-term goals for your therapy practice. As we're going off of what our why is, look at your why. Then you start to think about, okay, based upon my why, I need to have X, Y, and Z long-term goals, right? And then as a result of those long-term goals, I want you to then start to create some short-term goals based upon those particular goals. And I'm going to give you some examples in a second. But as you guys probably already know, make sure your goals are SMART. SMART meaning specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. So we want to make sure that we're not just putting like random goals that we have no idea how it's going to be accomplished, or even if it can be accomplished. Okay. So here's an example of a long-term goal and a short-term goal. So my goal is in 3 months, I want to increase my income by $2,000, right? So right now, if I'm in February, we got March, April, May, maybe by May, I want to have an increase in my income of $2,000. That's my long-term goal. That is a very realistic goal, but we need to come up with specific short-term actionable goals in order to get to that. All right. So the first goal I might have is I will increase my caseload by 5 clients each week. Now you would have to look at the amount that you charge or how much you're getting in. If you're working for like an agency or a company or something like that, you know your own numbers, and we'll talk a little about numbers in a little bit, but you have to figure this out. But possibly it could be that you would increase your caseload by 5 clients in order to reach this goal. Another goal could be I will increase my fee from 100 to 150, right? Or maybe I will get into stocks. Now, I put this in because a lot of times as therapists, we just feel like all of our goals have to be lined up with something that we're specifically doing at the moment. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. It could actually be another venture that we're in, another business venture. There's many therapists that are in the stocks, that have real estate, that do coaching on the side, that do blogging. There's a lot of different things that you could be doing that perhaps you have an interest in that could make you money alongside or supplement the income that you currently have for therapy. So I want you to be thinking outside of the box and what that could look like for yourself. Okay, so for now, I want you to take out 5 minutes to write down your long-term and short-term goals for your practice. Go ahead and take your time out right now as you are listening and watching this video. Remember, you got to get it done. This is a year of taking action. So take out 5 minutes right now to write down your long-term and your short-term goals for your therapy practice. Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about networking. Networking. Now, we know that networking is super, super, super important. Everybody's always talking about, you got to network, you got to network, you got to network. So what I want to really emphasize with networking is relationships. Now, as you guys know, when we're doing therapy with our clients, we know that building a rapport is super important. Why? Because in order to get the client to a point where they can actually buy into the idea of changing their mindset, that can change their feelings and their actions, right? And their thought process, they need to have a relationship so that they can trust us. It is no different in terms of your networking when it comes down to building your therapy practice. We need to build more relationships. The more relationships that you are building, the more connections that you have, it'll build the way you're able to build your therapy practice, and it can happen very quickly if you have more relationships. So you're going to network. So in order for you to build more relationships, the relationships are going to get you more opportunities and connections. Get people to have you top of mind when it comes down to making a referral for your therapy practice. Okay. So now what I want to do, because today we're talking about actionable steps, I'm going to give you some actionable steps in order to get through this goal. So step 1, I want you to create a list of 30 people that you can send information to about your practice. And when I say 30 people, I'm not just talking about, just 30 therapists or 30 doctors. In this particular step, I'm saying 30 people in general. Who are 30 people that you know that you could send this information to about your practice? Now, so if you're already in practice right now, what I want you to do is be thinking about who you could be talking to, who maybe you've started having a conversation with someone, but you never really kind of finished that thought and provided information about your practice to them. I want you to be thinking about those type of people, right? Or people that you talk to all the time, but they have no idea that you even have a therapy practice or that you're even starting a therapy practice. Step 2, I want you to reach out to those people via phone, text message, whatever avenue you can think of, but make sure that it's a personable experience. And with that, I want you also to be very thoughtful about following up in terms of providing the website, contact information, maybe a registration form, whatever your process is for getting their clients into your practice. Follow up with them concerning that. Step 3, I want you to identify 20 organizations or companies that have a touch point for your ideal client. So let's say, for instance, if I like to work with people that are in sports, right? And I want to provide therapy for that population, then I might want to be talking to physical therapists, or I might be wanting to talk to at least someone that's in like sports medicine. Think about people that would likely then connect to your ideal client. Because a lot of times we put ourselves in a box when we're thinking that we can only provide information about our practice to other therapists. But that's not how it works. That's not how building your practice works. You want to be in a position to be able to talk to anybody about your practice, because trust me, you have no idea where your clients are going to come from. Trust me on that one. All right, step 4, I want you to reach out by email to the companies or the organizations that you have identified, those 20 companies that you've identified, and even go as far as not just sending them your information, but schedule a phone call. Just schedule even if you don't think that they may have the opportunity for you to work with them. You have no idea. I just had this situation just within the last 2 weeks. We reached out to a particular company based upon the phone call we had. We weren't even sure if that was actually going to go through in terms of a contract, but these same people have already referred a client to us just within that small period of time. You have no idea where it's going to come from. All right, so let's get started with that list. I want you to write down 5 companies that you can actually reach out to right now. Start the list now. 5 companies. And then I also want you to write down 10 of those names, the personal names that we talked about. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take these 5 and these 10 names, and you're going to go and you're going to continue working on it this week. All right. I want this to be done at least by within a week from the time that you're watching this video. Write it down and start that process. So some people I know are probably going to be like, well, what do I say? How should I word it? Or how do I communicate with these people? So I have a sample text for you. Hey, Shirley, how are you doing? I know we've spoken about my goal to build a therapy practice. I'm working on becoming more visible so that I can truly make an impact in our community. It would be so helpful if you could share my practice info to anyone that you believe could benefit. Is this something that you'd be willing to help me with? So of course, you don't have to make it as cheesy as this, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of something like how you would want to word it. And you can kind of use your own language, but remember, we're talking about building relationships. So speak their language, alter this to make it sound more like you and more of like the relationship that you already have with that person. Okay. All right. So now we're going to be talking about marketing. We know that marketing is super, super powerful. We know that by marketing, there's many benefits, right? So our practice is seen by a larger population. And especially now, a lot of people are not thinking about this, but now that we have telehealth as a major option, you could be in your one state and you can see, especially if you live in a state that is very large, you could be seeing someone in your state that is like maybe, I don't know, like 50 miles away, where you typically would not see that person. So if we're using marketing, don't only think about marketing in terms of like what's right there in front of you, because now our avenues of being able to market are so great, and we can actually reach more and more people. All right. So our marketing also reminds our audience about our services when they need us the most. Now, this is what I mean by this. So I might maybe send out an email to someone or people, right? I might do that this month. They may not need therapy at this time. So they see the email, they're like, oh, okay, that's nice. But maybe 6 months down the line, they are in whatever situation, they're going to remember about me. So yes, they didn't need it then, but they may need it at a later point, but they would not think about you had you not put your information out there, right? So also it helps us to connect with individuals and companies that are closest to our ideal client. So just like I spoke about earlier about the sports medicine professional, be thinking again outside of the box of not only the people that you want to connect with, but who would connect with them. Now, this is such a key point in building your therapy practice. So I want to talk about a little bit what happens when we don't. market, or if we don't have a strategy to market. So what happens? We risk not keeping our practice filled during typical low season. So a lot of people know that during the summertime, maybe even during the holidays, sometimes there are a lot of cancellations, a lot of no-shows, people go on vacation. There's a lot of things happening. But of course, we know that that's not happening to everybody. But the more you put your information out there, the more likely, even when your typical clients are not coming in, you have other clients that are coming in. So you never really fully see that the impact of the low season. Okay. And then, of course, we know that if you keep your mouth closed about your practice, if you keep the visibility low about your practice, what is the main result? The main result is that people that need your services do not get your services. That is basically the main result. And that's not fair to them. Okay. All right. So we know that there are many ways to market. So we know that we can do email marketing. We can do we can send out brochures. We could do social media posts, podcasts, websites, add like therapy sites, blogging. There's so many different ways to market. But what I want you to do is just really focus on the fact that you need to be consistent. Consistency is key. Make sure that you have whatever plan that you come up with, that you are doing something that is going to make sense for you. Something that's going to be realistic. So we know with email marketing, it's like the number one way to get your information out there, but it is underrated. I'm sure you got this email, right? So just like you got this email where about my information, there's many people out there that actually have the opportunity to see your information through email. So don't be afraid of sending your information out through email. Get brochures. Yes, everybody's using virtual options for marketing, but brochures are still effective. They still provide an outlook, a persona about your practice. It still provides information about your practice, and people still read brochures. So don't be afraid about that. Social media posts, we're talking about anything from Instagram to Facebook to LinkedIn to TikTok. People are using these avenues of getting information. So while they're seeing information about dancing or about this drama, about this game, about this new song, why not provide a way at the same time for them to get information about you? Because those people that are looking at all of those things I just talked about, there's a handful of them that need therapy as well. There's a handful of them that have been searching for a therapist and can't find one. So be there. Podcast is another one. We know that a lot of people are listening to podcasts because people are so busy, but a lot of people subscribe to podcasts. A lot of people love podcasts. A lot of people are listening because it's something that they can do and kind of like grow and develop while they are doing whatever other things that they're doing. So it is another underrated avenue of marketing. So we know blogging is super effective as well. Don't forget about your website. If you have a therapy practice, you need to have a website. You need to be on Google. You need to get your SEO together. You need to have a website. There's so many people that have found my practice through me just having a website. Your website, just like the brochures, are going to give people a face to the name, to know who you are, who you serve, if they can connect with you, all of the above. Okay. And don't forget about those therapy sites. We know there's like different therapy sites, such as like Psychology Today, Good Therapy. All of those different websites, they can be super, super powerful and effective when it comes to providing an opportunity for you to connect with clients. So now let's talk about how to implement your marketing strategy. We kind of already talked about it a little bit, but the main thing I want you to do is think about at least 2 strategies, which can include networking that you enjoy. Let's let that be key. Have the time to implement on a weekly basis and believe you can do so consistently. Okay, so I want you to think about those different things that we just talked about. And then I want you to look at it and think, okay, I don't really like blogging. I don't like to write. So that's probably not going to be a good thing for me. But I do like to I do like to talk. So maybe I might want to do a YouTube video that shares my information. Or, I do like to be creative and I don't mind coming up with things really quickly. Maybe I might want to do some TikTok videos. Whatever. Think about your personality and then find at least 2 strategies that you could do on a consistent basis. Now, I want you to also think about making sure that you have a plan at least 1 hour a week per strategy. Look, if you want to build your practice, you got to put the time in, you got to put the energy in. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these strategies are going to take more than 1 hour, but I want you to at least get started with it so that you can start to really get a sense, first of all, what you're comfortable with. And then second of all, to see realistically what the time frame is that you're going to need in order to actually do the strategy. Okay. All right, so right now I want you to take a few minutes to find 1 hour a week that you can spend implementing your strategies. And now I want you to be specific. What day, what time do you need? Put it on your calendar. If you know that Mondays are a busy day, do not put it on Monday. If you know that you have Tuesdays between 5 to 6 where you're normally not doing anything, there you go. That's the time that you can put your strategy on there. Maybe if you can't do 2 hours at one time for both of those strategies, do the other hour on another day. Maybe you have Friday evenings, you're not doing anything, or before you go out with the friends, put in that time. If you want your business to be successful, let's be real, your private practice is a business. If you want it to grow and be successful, you have to see that it is a business. All right. With businesses, it takes time. You got to put the time in. Now, what resources will you need to implement the strategies that you choose? Will you need to hire someone? Will you need to do some research online? Will you need to make phone calls? Like, let's say if you want to do a video about something, but you still have some questions about certain elements or certain details, you want to consider all those things. Don't just like jump into like, okay, I'm going to spend my 1 hour. I'm just going to start doing it. You could do that for like the first time where you're really kind of processing and doing an outline of what it is that you want to do. But after you do that, I want you to then start to put in some of that time to do this research. So maybe your first week or so might be spending that 1 hour to research online, or you might be used to spend time making phone calls. All right. So be really thoughtful about this. Now I want you to write it on your calendar. I said now because I want you to do it right now. Start what you're doing right now and put it on your calendar, and I'll wait. Put it on your calendar right now. Go ahead. Go get that calendar. Put it on your calendar. Okay. So let's talk about vacation. Where are we going? I want you to dream. I want you to be thinking about where you could actually be going. Let's think about it. Where do you want to go? I have some things in my mind right now where I'm going this year, places that I want to go, places I want to go next year. Really, really think about it. Where are we going on vacation? I want you to dream, because remember, having a private practice is not just about us seeing clients. Having a private practice is about us creating a community for ourselves. It's about us creating an environment for ourselves mentally and physically, creating a new way of living than the norm, right? So I want you to be really, really, really thinking about what kind of opportunities can you create for yourself, and know that it involves taking time out for yourself to do something that you want to do. Because while we are working so hard getting things done, you also need to be taking a break. You need to be more effective in your work. And a lot of times as we keep going, this is how we get burnt out, because we never take out time for ourselves. So I want you to be thinking about, in your systems, in your private practice, you got to put in that vacation. So where are we going? Let's dream. So some of the things I want you to be thinking about when you're considering vacation: where do you want to go? How much is that vacation going to cost? What do you need to take with you on vacation? How often do you want to go on vacation in 1 year? Because I have some people say that they want to go every quarter, or some people say that they want to go twice a year. How many days off you want to take each year? Again, you may want to spread it out, or maybe you might just want to do a 4-week vacation once a year. It really just depends on how you feel. For me, even if I'm doing a staycation, I realize that pretty much like every quarter, I feel like I need to take some time off. That's just me. And how much money do you need to have saved in order to cover your expenses each time you are on your vacation? So as we're talking about vacation, I'm sure some of you guys are probably thinking, but we need money to go on vacation. It's not free. I know. So let's talk about how we get this done. You are definitely going to need a budget. Your budget includes all of your monthly as well as annual expenses. And I want you to think about, this is also what you need to pay yourself. In addition to those things that, look, just happens in our practice and even personally that we really don't normally consider. So first of all, if you own a practice, you need to have a business budget, and you also need to have a personal budget because they work hand in hand. So I want to kind of tell you a little bit about how this works. So some people are like, oh, I didn't know I was going to have to go over my personal budget. But this is the thing. I am not going to set up a fee or accept certain fees for my therapy services if it's not going to pay my bills. So if I own a home, if I have to pay gas in my home, if I have to pay electric, any of those things, if I'm doing that, what sense does it make to have these bills, but not have a system in place in terms of my fees that's going to actually allow me to pay for these things? It doesn't make sense. So that's why it's so important for you to do your personal budget as well as a business budget. So if you have not started your therapy practice, please do this before you start. Please do this before you decide exactly what your rate is going to be, especially if you're doing out of pocket. Please do this before you start thinking about how many clients you want to see, because you're going to have to look at all these numbers. So I created a case scenario for you that I believe is going to be extremely helpful, because a lot of times therapists do not think in these terms. So this is like a case scenario. We have therapist X who needs $3,875 each month. Therapist X's out-of-pocket rate is $100 per session. They only want to see 25 clients a week. Now, for some people, 25 clients might be a lot. For me, that is, but I definitely know people that see 25 and more. So you're going to do what's based upon you. I want you to look at this information, but adjust this information to fit your situation. Okay, so we have their personal budget is $2,050. Their business budget is $10 or $1,050. They have a wish list. Now, the wish list, I talk about this normally with my coaching clients, but basically you're coming up with things that you want to do. Like we just talked about vacation. So vacation might be a part of your wish list. You want to break those numbers down per month or per time you get paid, so that it equals out to the amount that you need when you want to take that vacation, or if you need the money to pay for maternity leave, whatever it is that you need, you want to factor that in to your numbers. And this therapist, they have the desire to be able to serve like an underserved community, where they know that they're not going to make as much because maybe it's a nonprofit, whatever the case is, right? So they're trying to figure out how to get all this stuff done. So this is how they get it done. Basically, therapist X can see 16 clients at their out-of-pocket rate that we already discussed, and 9 clients through their community organization. And this will give them the $3,875 each month that they need. So this is how you use your rates. This is how you consider your budget and how you kind of like put all this information together. So I told you, I'm going to help you to figure out how to put A, B, and C together to work for you. And this is an example of that. So let's take it a little bit further. Some people might be asking, okay, when you have a therapy practice, what should be a part of your business budget? So I have an example here. We're going to have possibly Facebook ads, Google ads, Psychology Today. This is possibly for like your marketing budget. Then we have miscellaneous costs, could be bank charges, dues and subscriptions, professional development. We can even add on there like liability insurance, things like that. Okay. And then we also want to add for general administrative tasks, office expenses, which could be stationery or printing. It could be if you have to go fax something, other supplies, if you have to get anything fixed. Let's say you have a car, you're using your vehicle for your services because you go out and you travel as a therapist. You can even use the repair that you get for your car. You can put that towards your budget. Okay, maybe electronic health record systems. There's a budget for that. A lot of us are now using these type of systems to create kind of like a seamless office plan for us. So you could do that if you're paying for internet, telehealth platform. These are ideas and things that you can use in your business budget. Of course, this is like a really condensed list, but I just want to kind of give you a general idea of things that you can include. So now I want you to take a few minutes to write down at least 5 items that should be on your personal budget, and then do the same for your business budget. Now, I'm just saying 5 items for right now, just because I want you to start to get into this habit, into the flow of thinking in these terms. But within the next week, I want you to really look at your budget. If you already have a personal budget, then fine. Really look at what that personal budget looks like, and then how does it equate to what you need to be obtaining financially through your business. And maybe you might need to increase your rate. Maybe you need to increase your caseload in order to be able to match that up with your personal budget. Okay. Let's look at your personal budget in the event that you don't have it. Now, we know we have like rent, mortgage, we got electric, gas, cell phone, groceries, car payments. I didn't put everything on here, but you could include your credit cards. You can include if you have to pay for a child for school, for daycare, for clothing items, for your extracurricular activities. Make sure everything is in that budget. Those Starbucks runs, make sure they're in here. Anything that you do, that is the most important thing that I want to kind of drive home here today, because a lot of times when we do a personal budget, we do our budget based upon like kind of like what we need, which is fine. You could definitely start there. But realistically, if you're already spending this extra money for this or that, go ahead and make a budget for that. That would kind of keep you accountable. Okay. So at the end of the day, all of this is helping us to create plans and systems for our practice, but it equates to freedom. What is there without freedom? The purpose of freedom is to allow us to be free, to dream, to think, to feel, to enjoy life. That is a part of all the plans and the systems that we essentially are talking about today. So if this is what you want, you can get it through private practice, but you got to create these plans for yourself. You got to be consistent. You got to want to do it. You have to put the time and the effort in order to get to that goal that you want to achieve. But it equals freedom. So what do you need freedom to do today? What are some things that you, if you just had the freedom, that you would do? Think about it. I want you to write down 5 things you could do with this freedom. What could you do if you had this freedom? And trust me, it doesn't have to be, superficial. It could be anything from volunteering, maybe at a shelter with children, going overseas, or it could be going shopping. Maybe you like to shop. Maybe you like to read books. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family. What is it that you feel like you need freedom to do? Maybe there's another business venture that you want to get into, but you're so occupied with your full-time job or so occupied with doing that and your private practice that you can't really manage the time. Write 5 things you could do with this freedom. Take the time out right now to do this work. All right. So if you've enjoyed what we've talked about today, I want to share with you a club that I started called Therapists in Action. Now, what this club is all about is it's about having motivated therapists together in a supportive environment, a fun environment where we can brainstorm about our practices, where we can strategize about how to get to certain goals, where we receive information, and essentially we grow our practices together. Okay. I've had so many therapists come to me, ironically, especially in certain locations where they feel like they're the only ones that are trying to start a therapy practice, or they are the only ones that have this like unique idea of a practice. I want you to know that wherever you are in your journey of a therapy practice, you are allowed in our club. In fact, we value people that have a unique process in their practice, that have a unique perspective on the way that they serve their clients, but they ultimately want to serve their clients. They have an ideal client, or even if they don't, they just know that they have a passion to do this work. So that is Therapists in Action. So you have the link, and I want you to actually go to the link and look for yourself. All right, so what do you get each month? You're going to get a monthly group mastermind meeting. And let me talk about the mastermind. So if you are definitely in a position in your practice where you really want to and this could be even if you want to start a therapy practice, but you just really you have ideas and you don't mind people assisting you and supporting you and kind of talking you through that process, then that's what this mastermind is going to be about. You want to come and maybe you've gotten stuck in a certain area of your practice and you really want somebody to help you to flush this out. That's where the mastermind comes in. You're going to get that information. You're going to be challenged. You're going to be supported. You're going to get information. You're going to get all of this in the mastermind meetings. All right. It's about getting it done. It's about getting it done. It's about stop making the excuses and finally getting it done. Now, the other part of this is going to be monthly trainings. I'm going to be doing a monthly training every month. Most likely it's probably going to be more than one, but you're going to get at least one free monthly training that is going to be exclusive to this group. So exclusive meaning I have my YouTube channel, I have the Facebook group, but that training will not be there. It's only going to be for people that are in this club. You're going to have access to resources on how to build your practice. So a lot of times when I work with my clients, I provide them details, not just give them general information about, okay, the budgeting. I would send them information about, okay, use this form on this for your budget. Okay, you need an intake assessment. Here's a document that you can use for that. You're going to have access to that type of information within this club. You're also going to have weekly challenges. I'm all about, it's called Therapists in Action, guys. So you're going to get some action in this club. You have to actually put things into practice. And sometimes, unfortunately, we don't move until we are challenged. So if you need that, or if you're looking for something like that to keep you accountable, to stay on track, you're going to be getting that. Most importantly, you're going to be getting peer feedback. The way that the platform is set up, you can post a question, you can get feedback on it in real time, right? You can provide information, resources that you feel like you want to share. You can do all of that. You share about your practice, share about information that's in our field, whatever. You're going to get motivational emails from me because I believe in motivating, encouraging, giving people a leg up, strengthening people to finally take the steps towards meeting their goals. And you're definitely within this club going to receive discounts on individual coaching sessions. Now, this will only be for people that are in this club. The prices that you're going to get for the coaching sessions are going to be extraordinarily discounted, but you got to be in this club in order to receive that. So if you're wondering how much this is going to be, it's only going to be $50 per month to be a part of this group. Yes, it's only $50 per month. You're getting so much in this community. Like I said, you're going to get the mastermind, you're going to get the trainings that you have access to through our platform, you're going to get the peer feedback, you're going to get the weekly challenges, the motivational emails as well. You're going to get all of that information and all of that community and that support that many of us so desperately need. Okay. Now, what I have for you guys is, if you are interested in coaching services with me, only for this group, I'm going to allow $125 per month. So you get the community, the online community access, as well as a 30-minute coaching session. Then you get the online community and a 60-minute coaching session for $200 per month. Now, just to give you an idea, my coaching sessions are $250 per 60-minute session. So if you add the numbers, this is a good deal. All right. Now, if you're still trying to figure out what this is all about, we're starting April 1st, 2023, where you're going to have this monthly investment. And it's going to help you if you want support, if you need guidance, if you're seeking community, if you want accountability, if you want to be challenged, if you want strategies to develop a successful practice, you're going to get this in this monthly subscription. So basically, monthly subscription, meaning whatever amount that you choose to pay, if you just want the community, you're paying $50 a month. If you want the 30-minute coaching sessions in addition to community, you're going to pay $125 per month. If you want the 60-minute individual coaching sessions, that's the accountability within the community, you're going to pay $200. So you're going to get all of that. All right. So we want to make sure that you are there. You're going to be there if you want support, if you need guidance, if you're seeking community, if you want accountability, if you want to be challenged, and if you want the strategies to develop a successful therapy practice, you want to get it here in this group, Therapists in Action. So again, these are the prices. This is what you're getting for each. And if you have any questions, definitely I want you to let me know. And I'm going to see you in the club. All right. So I hope you enjoy this training. Definitely let me know. Send me a message through email, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you have seen me, on LinkedIn. Let me know what you thought about this training. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. At the end of the day, this is the year of action. I have coined it. This is our year of action. No more making excuses. This is a year of getting it done. Therapists, it is time for you to take action. See you in the club.